Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
This video is our voice finale results. Meet the new winner. Almost same as many other winners. It's not a surprise, but here we are. We're going to break it down. We're going to explain why this is happening. And I think the voice is in the midst of a little bit of, I don't know what to call it, a dilemma, an existential crisis. It's a weird situation they're in. We're going to talk it through. Before we do, though, if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. So yeah, breaking news, everyone. It turns out that the winner is Carson Day. No, I'm joking. It's Jake Hoot because, of course, it was going to be, yeah.
Of course it was going
Yeah,
to be.
and this is the thing. It's like, I feel bad for coming on here and being just sort of like wah-wahing all over his win because Jake's a good singer.
I agree. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't listen to country at all, and I really like his voice. Very smooth. I really like it.
Yeah, so I don't want to sound like I'm just, some jaded bald guy coming on here and just like hating on Jake because I think he is very talented and I don't want to take away from his win because it takes a lot to get to this point in the show.
It does. Congratulations, Jake.
Yeah, it takes a lot to, be able to just go through all the criticism online. I don't think Jake is, immune to the fact that every time he probably looks at his Twitter notifications or whatever, there are probably a bunch of people who are like, oh, great, another country singer, bunch of gas bags like me are probably coming at him on social media all the time. So I'm aware that he's probably not in the best of situations.
No, and I'm sure it's difficult for him. I mean, one of the other things I just really like about Jake is that he just comes across as such a genuinely just here I am kind of guy. That he's not a rock star. He doesn't have that sort of crazy bravado. You get what you get with me. Here I am. Take me or leave me. Just genuine guy that you could just sit down, have a beer with, and chat.
Yeah.
And that is great in a lot of ways, but also difficult when then you're on a singing competition where everyone's like, yeah, Katie, because there was a lot of that this season. Even when Katie was eliminated tonight, there was a lot of people in the audience that were very, very upset about it, and you could hear it.
Yeah, and I think it's a difficult position to be in if you're Jake. I think all of that is true, but I also... And here, of course, is the but I also do feel like Katie should have been the winner of The Voice, but I can't say that I'm surprised about any of this at all. And this is where I get into sort of the never-ending cycle of The Voice defeating itself a lot of the time when it comes to non-country artists, because I'm going to paint a picture for you.
Yeah, because we don't get artists like Katie really ever. She's in her own lane of something that's very, very special that you don't really get to see, hear, cool style. It's great that Jake won and he does have a really nice voice, but it would have been a very special moment to see a voice like Katie's win this, because to me, she is an entire package. She's got the voice, she's got the stage presence, and she has a very cool style.
I think this is a part of the problem. I have tried to diagnose this for about 3 years now, but
you have.
This is my theory on it at this point, is that The Voice has a lot of country music viewers, obviously.
Yes.
Blake's probably the most popular coach on the show. Country music fans they're a really, really loyal audience. They support their own, probably more so than any other genre. But I think what happens is when country winners win, and they win repeatedly, a lot of non-country fans are probably like, well, you know what, I don't really want to watch this anymore. But in doing this, it makes it even harder for future non-country artists to win because there are fewer non-country fans watching.
I'm mostly surprised that we don't have just a country competition singing show that is as popular as The Voice.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of country singers out there that want to break in. It's a very hard industry to break into because there are so many country singers. People would watch this, and I feel like it would be as popular as The Voice. And that way it gives The Voice a chance to have other people who aren't country singers, and then it gives a chance for lots of country singers to actually compete against other country singers for a spot.
What we're saying here is revive Nashville Star. I know it's been off the air for a long time, but put it on NBC, give it a bigger platform. It probably would do really, really well.
I think it would.
But I think really the thing about the country artists on The Voice is it is an easier path in some ways to get to the end, provided that you have a good coach, provided that there aren't a lot of other country singers, because you sort of have a built-in demographic out there that's voting for you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm actually more surprised when Kelly was like, "Oh, I was a chair turnaround." I'm surprised that the judges going into this, or the coaches going into this, aren't all scrapping over every single country artist that steps on that stage, because they typically win the show. So if I was a judge, or if I was one of these coaches, I would pick every single country artist to turn my chair around. I would fill up my team with country artists.
Here's the thing, though, and this is what I will say. I think it's still possible to win The Voice if you're not a country singer. I mean, Malin did it last season. It will probably be done again. But I think it takes a very specific rationale and a very specific way of doing things. Because if you can deliver like 4 or 5 just like transcendent, you cannot ignore me performances through the entire season and just be that much better than everyone else consistently, you have a chance.
You mean like Rose Short?
Well, okay, I think...
Because she got the robbery on this. Her voice is incredible, and it was, to me, the strongest voice in this competition.
To me, I think Rose had the best overall voice, but I think that there wasn't that like transcendent quality to the performances, and I'm not saying that's anything to do with their voice. I just think whether it was a song choice thing,
We're not talking anymore.
It's the emotional connection or something. It's just sort of like.
But you get that emotional connection from her through her stories, through getting to know her, just her sweet, genuine personality that I'm just like, oh man, I can't not like Rose the person. And then on top of it, here's Rose with this beautiful voice. It's just so powerful and amazing. It's just, I don't get it.
I think here is a part of the problem for The Voice, is that as a show, especially if you are an un-country artist, you have a much harder path. And I think in order to sort of overcompensate for that, you have to find ways to sort of make songs your own. And that's why I sort of wonder more. I don't know if this is a production thing where they don't allow them to have leeway with a lot of song choices, but I would want to see more original arrangements, more musicality, so that, let's say, for example, Rose, someone who we both agree is really, really amazing. She did her version of I Want to Know What Love Is.
Yep.
It was awesome, but it also sounded, in terms of instrumentation, just like the original.
As all the songs on the show do.
Like, what if Rose has an opportunity to have a version of I Want to Know What Love Is with just her, just the piano, maybe something where she gets a little bit more melodic freedom and makes it like her own little moment. I think those are the things that can kind of level the playing field a little bit, but this show just doesn't give us that.
They may not be allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, artists may be licensing their music, but are like, well, don't change it. I mean, what if it turns out to be better than the original? Maybe there are some artists that are just not interested in that they're like, yeah, I want my music played, but it needs to be the same. We don't know, right?
It's just weird, because it's like, Idol over the years I think has allowed for a lot more flexibility, and then it's like The Voice, it's like no original songs, all of the covers have to be fairly straight-faced. I mean, yeah, you get the originals at the end, but then that's like it. And it just feels like Idol at this point has become like more of an actual artistic playground, which is really funny, because they don't call their singers artists on Idol.
That's true.
It is the ultimate hypocrisy of The Voice, everyone. But, you know, we're moving into season 18 in the spring. It's hard to sit here and say, you know, like, okay, if you change this, you'll get a different result, because I think ultimately it's just going to be up to the individual contestants at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, it's also with what's going on with the coaches. We've said it before, there's also just that feeling of everyone's amazing. This is the best performance you've done. No, this is it. No, now this is it. And it's the same compliments every week that they start to not feel as genuine, even if they are genuine. And I think that also kind of adds to it. While they get coaching in private, where they get the constructive criticism that they need, which is, oh yeah, bring this higher, bring this lower, let's try this, let's do this run. That's all awesome. But if you're gonna say something's really great, these coaches need to give more. Why is this your best performance? What made this better than last week? Give that in front of everybody. I don't think that is gonna hurt them in getting votes. Oh, this is your best performance. Why? Why is it better than last week? Because of ABC. You're growing. Amazing. It's still there.
Yeah, that would make a much better show for sure, and I think it would give better advice.
And it doesn't take away from like, you're not going to have one coach be like, okay, listen, this is not as good as last week, and here's the problems you had, and bring that person down. You can give a compliment, but back it up with why. What is it that you did that worked out, so that then they can go on to the next week and work on that.
Yeah, like the sing-off was on NBC a long time ago, and I think the judges were really good at doing that sort of thing with that. But I feel like just in general, as we're looking at this season, the one thing I will say, no matter who the winner was going to be tonight, that I will give this season praise for, I actually didn't feel like I knew 100% going into this who was going to be the winner. Like, I thought it was probably going to be Jake, but I thought this was at least a competitive finale in that you had 4 really good singers. I mean, it was pretty clear going in Rose was probably going to be 4th, but
it did. But I actually didn't expect Katie to be in 3rd.
No.
I thought maybe 2nd. There's been so much hype about her online. I see so many people talking about her and even on here, people coming and leaving comments. Oh, I voted for Katie a million times. Like, it's there. She was there, so I was quite surprised.
The only time I guess I started to get a little bit worried was earlier today. I was looking at like the sales chart on Apple, and it was at the top of it, number 1 was Ricky's original song. And I was like, oh, and I know that's not necessarily like a factor in all the voting, but I was like, okay, people are really liking this song. I don't know about Katie anymore, but this is where we've landed. Congratulations to Jake. This is not the Rain on Jake parade. He did a good job, but
he deserved his win. He did.
That it is also it's fair to ask, I think, questions about The Voice in general, because its patterns are very clear after this many seasons.
Yeah, and I think going forward, even if they can just change up just a couple of things to make it so that it's not so predictable that we're going to go in, and unless somebody has like a real special spark, that we're going to see a country singer win over and over and over again. Yeah,
well, we'll conclude this, but we want to know from you guys, what do you think about the finale, Jake's win, and also what would you change about The Voice in season 18? Share in the comments and give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store, and we'll see you here next time.